Well, hello. This is Elizabeth, a time management coach, and I am so excited to be here today with Preethi, someone who I've had the privilege of working with in time management coaching. And I just want to, first of all, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. So, yeah, so to start out, how about you tell us a little bit about where you were at when you were considering time management coaching in terms of your life, career, that sort of thing.
Thank you, Elizabeth. It's been a pleasure working with you and knowing you as well. I'm Preethi William. I have known Elizabeth for over 2 years. I work in healthcare and I'm a full-time working physician. I do have a family. I have two kids under 13, and I'm a sandwich generation between my kids and being available for my parents as well. Um, Before 2022, or around the time COVID was getting to its peak, I began to feel the stretch of burnout, and I realized that I had to do something different before it was too late. And there were quite a bit of lessons that I learned during the journey. And I actually came across Elizabeth's time management program while trying to figure out I never how to be productive with time. And there's quite a bit of things that I learned in the journey that I can answer for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Elizabeth.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that was a time, well, healthcare burnout can be a thing anytime. There's a lot going on in hospitals and clinics and all of that. But absolutely, going out of everything that happened with COVID and coming out of that was particularly a time where people are really stretched thin. And as you shared, you had a lot going on, not only a very busy career, but also at home, having parents, having children, and wanting to manage all of that. And so, how about you share a few lessons you learned about how to take care of yourself
Mhm.
in an environment where you're taking care of everyone else and trying to make sure everyone else is okay, and how to make sure you are also taking care of yourself, honoring your needs, using your time wisely, both in your work environment as well as at home?
Yeah, so like you said, self-care is one of the most important principle I learned during that time. And I think I had to overcome the myth or mindset where you had to keep giving. But I also realized that it was a time that I had to tell myself I cannot pour from an empty cup.
Mhm.
So this was time management is not just blocks of time. I think it begins with changing your mindset, the way you think or reframe things around your existing thought processes, and also revisiting your boundaries. With regards to thought processes, couple of things that come to mind is boundaries don't necessarily always mean no. It's just saying yes to the right things or things that are of top priority for you. And to make sure that those top priorities, whether it's for self-care or for your family or for your career, finds a space in the calendar, and we're not filling our cup with more sand than pebbles. So
Right.
that was one of the principles I think we kind of talked about when we were in class. Second was the concept of busyness versus productivity and ignoring a state of rest and Sabbath. I think that's a concept we talked quite a bit. And the myth of being busy all the time, or the myth of being called lazy if you're not doing something, was something the way the world might perceive. But unless I found rest, over time, I even took a sabbatical after the session that I had with you. And I think it gave me an opportunity to revisit my priorities, my top three needs in every area, and what are the things that I want to say yes to, and what are the things that don't fulfill my vocation.
Mhm.
and setting no for those, and also making sure that my battery is charged, my
Mhm.
cup is full, before I can pour out and give more for those around me. So that was, more related to mindset.
Mhm.
Then coming to actual calendar, I think there's a lot of things that we talked about, how to maintain focus. We talked about the Pomodoro technique and, several other time management strategies. And we talked about having a calendar, from a week for a weekday, a weekend, how we can automatize processes that can reduce cognitive load, time that you spend on thinking, versus things that could be preset, like having a playbook and a rule book.
Mhm.
So I think I do use that quite a bit, so that I don't have to reinvent the wheel every day. Um, and then one important thing that I realized with my calendar is, or more than one for that matter, is in addition to your daily routine, to find some space in your calendar for emergency,
Mhm.
find some space for breathing space also. So these two come very handy so that you're not overloaded. And last but not the least is, just because you have time in your calendar, you don't necessarily need to fill it.
Yes.
It is okay to have an empty slot in your calendar, because there's always stuff to catch up, or it's always okay to look through your window and look at the blue sky above you.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
those are some key stuff that we talked about, and I do continue to follow those principles.
Mhm.
That's with the calendar. And something more recently, being busy and productive, than trying to find family time. I am more mindful than before. I would say previously my work life, shift was probably like 80% plus of work and less of me and less of family time and personal stuff. And I would say now I'm doing better than where I was 2, 3 years ago.
Mhm.
And I try to come with innovative ways of how I can do things together with my kids. Maybe do laundry together, make a meal together, or go to the gym together.
Mhm.
So those are things, brings an accountability factor. At the same time, it also helps me um, to do some team effort or teamwork
Yeah.
together, and then I count it as a family time too. So
Yeah.
regrets.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love it. And I just want to commend you too, because I know it hasn't always been easy to set boundaries, especially in healthcare, when people are like, oh, I need you, I need this. And sometimes things are true emergencies, but sometimes they're not. And also, sometimes you might have different colleagues that perhaps find out you're very willing to take more people on your schedule and they can take advantage of that. So it's important that you are setting those boundaries, being helpful where you can, but not just letting everyone take over your schedule. And I love what you said about also pairing things together. So being aware, these are my priorities, this is what I want to do, and how can I get a 2-for-1 special? Like you had mentioned before when we've spoken about going with your son to the gym. So it's like you're getting to the gym, you're also spending time with him. It's healthy for both of you. So it's a total win-win. So that is awesome. And what would you say to someone who is considering doing time management coaching?
I think it is totally worth the time that you spend, because I think you're going to get more hours that you're going to have for yourself. You're going to realize, what is important to you. It's a time of self-reflection, how you're going to plan self-care, whether it is, physical health, emotional well-being, your career, your family. I think it's just a good time of reflection. And you're not alone, you're with a group. And then, Elizabeth, as you always brought up some outlines for us, or a template that we could work with, has been helpful. So I think doing your homework and truly taking some time for yourself to see how you can be your best for yourself and for the rest of those around you.
Awesome. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I'm super proud of you and keep up the good work. Okay.
Thank you, Elizabeth.